Hey guys, welcome to my 6.88E patchlog analysis. It's a very short patch, so this video probably won't take more than 10 minutes. Let's get right onto it. We got Axe, somewhat nerfed. Makes sense. He's the fastest jungler in the game right now. If you don't believe me, there is a series of videos on YouTube that showcase that he could get to level 6 in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Kind of wrap your head around that for a second. That is absolutely crazy. I think the hero's still completely very viable because of his kit. He's going to be less successful getting there, but he's still going to be a very powerful hero once he does get there. Bount Hunter Track mana increase. This is actually a pretty big deal for the hero. He's already extremely mana starved. They have already nerfed Shadow Walk, and for me, it feels like Ricky is becoming more and more as the information gathering hero, and Bounty's more of like a teamfight hero. And it feels like right now Bounty, you can only play it with Arcane/Greaves. Some players do choose to play with Tranquil Boots, but Track is probably the spell that you spam the most in fights or in a base defense situation. And my cat is going off. And it's actually hard to do multiple tracks and still have mana for like, Wind Walks as well as Shuriken Toss. So I imagine that as a Bounty player now, you need to get a mana item, whether it's Magic Wand, alongside Arcane Boots, because it's just tough to also save that 225 for mech as well. Alright, Faceless Void. I really like the change quite a bit with Time Dilation. It's much more skill-based. Instead of just jumping in Chrono, Time Dilate, win team fight. Now you kind of have to catch it in between spells. Like one strong interaction is the fact that if you Time Dilate when Invoker hasn't used Invoked yet, then your Time Dilate does absolutely nothing to that Invoker. So I like it a lot. It makes it a little bit less unfair, I guess, and makes it much more skill-based on the part of Faceless Void, so that's always good. Keeper of the Light, the mana cost nerf is actually pretty big. There's a couple things where it hits Coddle pretty hard. Number one is you can't leak into Illuminate as a harassing tool in the lane. Illuminate already costs a bit, and now Mana Leak costs a ton, so it makes that combo pretty much not a good one, because you trade Mana Leak and Illuminate for one of their tangles. You're long gonna run out of mana before they run out of tangles, and I think the build's gonna have to adjust for it. You're probably gonna see more clarities on Keeper of Light, which is generally an item that you could skip in the past. And also, Mana Leak, the big mana increase also affects his team fight. You generally cast like 7 to 8 abilities as Keeper in a fight, and Mana Leak is one that you want to spam quite a bit, especially towards the end of the fight where you pick up a couple of kills with that short cooldown Mana Leak. That's going to mean two things. Either you keep chakraing yourself, which your teammate is not going to get the chakra bonus, or you're going to miss kills. So it's just going to be a tough one for keepers to manage. This also hits pretty hard, those 5 position keepers. Before, you kind of could get away with things with Tranquil Boots, and that's it, or maybe like a Magic Stick. But now you kind of have to pick up maybe a Staff of Wizard or maybe a Point Booster to really have the same capabilities as you once had, or you're going to just run out of mana. The Blinding Light buff though is actually huge. It's like a more than 25% buff. This means you're going to be able to cancel more TPs in conjunction with Mana Leak and make huge plays around the Roshan Pit or around ramps actually. It's so easy to get off a good Blinding Light now that it's almost a joke. So yeah, I expect to see more Keeper. His laning stage is going to be somewhat weaker, which is one of his previous strengths. But yeah, we'll see how players adjust, whether it's buying more Magic Sticks or more Clarities. We shall see. Kunkka, damage on Torrent is nerfed, and I think this is a very well justified nerf. Very high skill Kunkka players, FY in particular comes to mind, just plays a very roam Kunkka style where you get 1 point in Torrent and just harass mid continuously. Maybe having your ally OD to Astro into a Torrent. Well, that's going to be a lot less effective because Kunkka can't actually spam that many Torrents because his mana pool is quite small. And now that you're spamming Torrents that actually don't do that much damage. I think the change is really to keep Kunkka players honest, because right now you see Kunkka players actually maxing Tidebringer first, and this is more so on the support Kunkka side. They max Tidebringer first, they max X second, and that's fine, but you're going to be seeing a huge decrease in terms of damage output. The old Kunkka with your level 6 combo, you got 3 Tidebringer, 1 Torrent, 1 Bolt. You're able to output 500 damage after all reduction has been taken into account. That's actually insane for a support hero to output that much damage. I think now players have to make the distinction of, look, Okay, I'm gonna have to level X, but my damage is gonna suffer, so I'm gonna play more of a utility Kunkka. Or if I want to focus on Torrent, then I'm gonna have to kind of guess on my Torrents and land it raw without having high levels of X or Tidebringer. So I like the change. Again, it makes the hero much more skill-based when it comes to leveling up his abilities instead of just the cookie cutter, max Tidebringer, and then go back for his other abilities. Stifling Dagger is the thing that I want to talk about next. His range, or her range, actually got reduced quite a bit, especially at level 1. So first things first, if you ever dreamed of playing support PA, I think that is going to be a lot less effective now that you're going to have to get much closer. I know that 825 range is still actually a lot, but big part of her ability to harass early on is to be able to do it from 1200 range. Off lane's going to have slightly a better time zoning people out, or being zoned out by the daggers. And the other big interaction is Magic Stick. Yes, the Magic Stick would have still picked up charges from the old Stifling Dagger range, but it's more so that PA could cast it within fogs, within trees, where you don't have vision of the PA, and thus you're not going to pick up those Magic Stick charge. Now all of that is going to get somewhat easier. To be fair, the Dagger is still the first ability that she'll max out, and she'll get there very quickly. It makes that first 2-3 minutes much more manageable, and you don't let her snowball in the laning stage as big as she used to do. So, good change. I think the hero did need a nerf. The last thing I want to talk about is Shadow Demon in this patch. And Shadow Demon's initial poison damage reduced from 50 to other values. This is actually a pretty big change. So let's actually focus on his ability to kill with Shadow Poison. That hasn't changed too much. Yes, your initial damage is somewhat slightly reduced, but the big part of his killing potential is the poison stack damage, which has been untouched. So if you throw like 5 stacks with a level 4 poison on somebody, that person is still likely to die. So that hasn't changed too much. The biggest change for me is Shadow Demon's interaction now with infused raindrops. It used to be that you throw a poison, it immediately takes off a charge of infused raindrop, thus putting it on cooldown, and that's something that you want to be doing in a gank. Instead of blocking, let's say, an LSA or some high value nuke, it blocks Shadow Demon's poison, which, great, you block 50 damage. Now, in order to get rid of an infused raindrop charge, you have to use at least a level 3 poison, hit them with it, and then have to release the poison to actually break the infused raindrop. It used to be that Shadow Demon could actually take off 2 charges with 1 usage of Shadow Poison, and now you can only do it with the level 4 poison if you hit them. So it's actually a pretty big nerf to Shadow Demon in my opinion, at least with the infused raindrop. The hero is still very powerful with the rest of his kit, so I don't see him being demoted anytime soon. You might miss out like an early game kill or two, especially at level 1 where a lot of the damage has been cut. So that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I know there's a lot of other heroes that got changed, but I feel like the ones were the most interesting to me and the ones that I could share the most of my opinion with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this patch log analysis. I'll be back making more videos, and until next time, this is Luminous. I'm signing off. GG guys.